A pleasant good morning to you and welcome to this, your main newscast right here on Kaieteur Radio 99.1, 99.5 FM. I am Joshua Van Slegman. Thank you for joining us. Of course, just before we bring to you today's news in detail, let's bring to you today's front page comment titled "The Oil Fiasco Giveaway Calls for an International Investigation." Now, former President Donald Ramotar is reported to have said that he did not read what he signed when the petroleum agreement for the Kanji and Kaieteur blocks was presented to him for signature. In times gone by, selling out one's country would be considered like treason and the guilty person having to pay the ultimate price. Former Natural Resources Minister Robert Prasad engaged in the clever petro-distancing from President Ramotar and the agreement and constructs his own spin to weave himself out of the Kanji and Kaieteur webs. Even though the agreement would have been drafted out of his ministry and under his direction and as the political head of the ministry, as understood, Mr. Prasad's position is that he did not know the people to whom the Kanji and Kaieteur blocks were sold. Kaieteur News' position is that he had a duty to inform himself. Words can hardly describe the conduct of these two men. Soul will be too civilized a word. But we cannot escape the appearance of powerful and undeniable absence of national leadership. Suspicion of was is other jurisdiction is tantamount to criminal negligence, if not conduct and massive hijacking of the oil wealth of the people. Whether Mr. Prasad knew or did not know, for all the practical purposes, he was the man assigned to and paid to protect the interests of Guyana and Guyanese. What is unaccounted for, we have Guyanese out of 10 of billions in the American dollars, and what has been hidden concerning the Kanji and the Kaieteur oil blocks. Amongst the worst crimes committed on the country, warning the ultimate penalty allowed by other countries' laws. We do not like others to interfere in our national affairs, but the cost of this betrayal of the people's patrimony, the silence of those key participants, and the unwillingness of the country's former and present political leaders to investigate this matter leaves us with no option but to call for an international investigation of this fiasco. The Global Witness showed how Trotman gave away some $55 billion due to incompetence and whatever else is in the case of the Stabroek blocks. The Kanji and Kaieteur blocks are at least in the same league. You are asked to read page 20 and page 21 of the Kaieteur newspaper. Today, Sunday, October 25th. Thank you for joining us right here on Kaieteur Radio once again. My name is Joshua Van Slegman, bringing to you today's main newscast for Sunday, October 25th, 2020. Let's get to the news. The Kanji agreement signed by former President Donald Ramotar obligates Guyana to go back to the negotiation table with the contractor if it believes that the terms must favor oil companies more so as to commercialize the production of gas. Yet, if Guyana ever determines that it is unfair, that it must repay the 1% royalty or that any other provisions of the agreement is so unfair that it should be rectified, the contractor is held to no such obligation to come to the negotiation table. The one-sided provision exists in Article 12.2 of the agreement. The government will be held to an obligation to negotiate with the contractor to decide on project economies that gives a rate of return no less than 18%. In the event that the parties cannot agree to a revision of the terms, they must engage a sole expert to render a decision on the terms. If the contractor does not want to move forward with the sole expert's decision, it can decide to abandon the gas discovery and relinquish it to the government. Nigeria is home to the world's 10th largest reserve of oil and gas deposits. With such a massive sale of resources, Oil and gas have become the lifeblood of the African nation's economy. But since the discovery of oil in 1956 in the Niger Delta, the people are no better off. In fact, more people are wallowing in poverty today when compared to the 1950s. In fact, the latest Poverty and Equality Report released by the nation's National Bureau of Statistics states that the number of Nigerians that are in extreme poverty has increased to over 95 million. According to the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, unscrupulous leaders have stolen the nation's coffers and stashed away billions of dollars in foreign bank accounts. It noted that by some estimates, close to 400 US billion was stolen between 1960 and 1999 alone. This is equivalent to 284 of the emergency budget passed by the PPPC government for 2020. Will this be Guyana's story too? Only the actions of the nation's political will tell. Quick actions by the law enforcement officers averted what could have erupted into a full-scale riot on the west coast of Berbice yesterday as enraged residents blocked the roads in protest over the slothful pace of investigations into the murders of Isaiah and Joel Henry. This marks the third time villagers from the area have engaged in protests over the violent crime. According to a release from the police, at 1:45 p.m., reports were received of the public road running through Number 5 village being blocked. Ranks immediately responded, confirming the blockage. From images seen, tires and others were placed across the main passageway and set alight, temporarily halting the flow of traffic. Concerns continue to be raised as the silence of the Guyana Police Force on the status of investigation. Only recently, the Commissioner of Police, Nigel Hoppy, said that new leads were being pursued when asked about progress being made. No further updates were released. The force is still awaiting the detailed report from the 5-member Regional Security System team who provided assistance to the investigation with their probe. We tell you now that a traffic rank died last evening after he lost control of his motor car and slammed into a parked trailer along the Fellowship Public Road, Maikoni, East Coast, Demerara. Dead is Police Constable Roald Archer, who was attached to the 4th Wellington Police Station. According to the information, the officer was off duty at the time and was heading towards Berbice. Archer overtook a vehicle and when he got back into the lane, allegedly did not see the parked trailer and collided with it head-on. The car was crushed beyond recognition. Archer died instantly and his body was pulled out from the wreckage by public spirit citizens. You're listening to your main newscast right here in Kaieteur Radio 99.1 at 99.5 FM. We tell you now that the Central Housing and Planning Authority has reverted to their former policy for persons applying for house lots, which say that their applicant must be 21 years old and above to apply. The announcement was given by Minister of Housing and Water Colin Crowell. The age policy requirement was changed from 18 to 21 years old in January 2017 under the former AFC that should be the APNU AFC government. In giving a reason for the switching back to the old policy, Minister Crowell said that the last government did not reduce the policy to 18 years, but in all, practically, if one approaches the bank for a loan, there are certain requirements that they seek. He further explained that the requirements include having an employment history up to 3 years, and many 18-year-old applicants could not produce this and other necessary requirements to bank and other institution, leaving the Central Housing and Planning Authority system with void lots. And with that, we've come to the end of your main newscast right here on Kaieteur Radio. Let's remind you that you can get the full details of these stories and much more by heading across to our website at kaieteurnewsonline.com, or you can, of course, pick up a copy from a newsstand near you, or keep on listening to us right here on Kaieteur Radio. I am Joshua Van Sleckman. Thank you for joining us. Have a great remainder of your Sunday. Bye-bye.